Alina's recipes, and today we will be doing top 10 kitchen essentials. Let's get started. My very first one that I do absolutely love, and these are very much needed, and I mean needed, is measuring cups. I do have ones that are more for dry items such as baking soda, baking powder. These are very, very useful for that. And then I have different kinds. I have one that I use a lot for butter, and other kinds that are also very, very well to use, and they have all kinds of measurements on them. So these ones I love to use because they are really good for baking. When you bake, it helps to use measuring cups because then you don't have something being too moist or too dry. So these are definitely one that I would suggest. And for the second one that we have will be a big or small drainer. And this I did not get right away when I was buying my kitchen things, only because I thought that it would not be needed, and I was very, very wrong. And I learned that the hard way because when I would make spaghetti or anything of that sort, I would drain my spaghetti using a plate, which was very uncomfortable and can cause you to burn yourself. So this, I would say, is very, very helpful, and it does can be used also for washing your vegetables or fruit instead of taking things out of a bowl and creating a mess and just making it hectic to use. This one is very, very, very helpful. And the next item that we have, which I also really, really love, and I do use it almost every single day, would be a blender. And I do love this, and it was actually gifted to me, to us, from my mom, and it was one of the best gifts that I would say. And it is very, very useful, especially if you don't like to eat a lot of greens and it doesn't come natural for you to actually like eating greens or fruit, and you find it hard for yourself to like to eat that. This does come in handy for that as well, because you can make delicious smoothies in here, or different kinds of mixes. Also, it's really good for salad dressings, anything of that type. And I do actually have a video on the smoothie if you guys would like to check it out, and let me know what you think. It does actually taste really, really good, and it's delicious, and it's also very, very healthy. The next item that we do have, and I have multiple of these only because I absolutely love to use them, and I have different styles, which is wooden spoons. I have ones that are actually a spoon, ones that are different shapes, ones that are cut as half a spoon, one that looks like a big giant fork. So I use these really, really a lot, only because they're so, so helpful and so nice to use. I prefer wooden spoons over metal spoons, only because, well, when you use metal spoons, I would think that it does scratch up your pots and pans, and so this really, really helps with that. It does not scratch anything up when you're using it. And also, from metal spoons, I feel like they heat up, and when you're using it, you feel like your hands burning or something else of that sort. And these ones don't, so you feel completely safe using them, and they are very comfortable to use. And then the next item that we have, this one I'd say is a very obvious one, but it is very, very much needed. So these are knives. Now, I do have 3 of my favorite knives that I use on a daily basis, and I shouldn't be holding these too close to my face, but I have one that I call the chunky knife, or a chef's knife, one that is thin but more in length, and a small knife. So the chunky knife, I use it more for things that are very, very hard to hold in place, such as potatoes or a mango or something to the extreme, which is a watermelon, only because it's really hard to cut things like that with a smaller knife. So this one comes really, really handy for that. Also, the one that is more in length, I really love to use this because it gives more of a really nice slice and it's more smooth for things that you need a nice cut, meaning for like cucumbers, tomatoes, partially for salads, anything of that sort. These come and they are very, very helpful for that. They give a nice smooth cut rather than just chopping something up. The next one is a small knife. This knife is really, really useful for something that is soft, meaning small fruits such as strawberries, kiwis, peaches that are really tender themselves already, and you don't want to be bruising them and you don't want to break them down just because they're small and tender. And this really helps to, when you cut it, you don't put as much force on it or pressure, and it helps to give that nice slice when you cut your fruit. So those are the 3 knives that I use on a daily basis, and they come in really, really handy for the kitchen, and I absolutely love them. The next item that we have here is a lemon squeezer. This might not be one for everyone, but it definitely is one for me. I put lemons almost in everything, only because they give such a good taste, and they're really good for you, especially for things that you make that are more greasy and in oil, that when you eat, they do give off that grease. If you're frying something, I love to put a little bit of lemon only because it gives a little touch of freshness, and so I use lemon in a lot of things that I make, especially morning water or anything of that sort, or even smoothies. You add a little bit of lemon and it tastes amazing. So this one is actually, it's not plastic, and I've had it for actually a really long time and it hasn't broke yet, and it does work very, very well. So it's not hard to use, and it actually keeps out the seeds from this lemon seeds to get into the food, so you don't have to go and pick them out or something else. So this one is really, really good for that. So I love the lemon squeezer. Next, what we have is a big or small flat tray, baking tray. So these I love to use. They're really, really helpful in the kitchen, and I do suggest getting one of these, either a big size or a smaller size. I do have a video on me using a smaller tray that if you guys want to check it out, then please feel free to, and let me know how you guys think that it will work for you. So these also come in very, very handy for things like, well, cookies, pizza, and also baked sandwiches and baked potatoes. So I love to use these in the kitchen, and some of them are very, very inexpensive. I got mine at Walmart. So these come in very, very handy at the kitchen. So I absolutely love that. The next one I am about to show is actually my absolute favorite. I did not know this until I had went through the struggle of before I actually got it. So the next one that I have is a deep pan. So I use this really, really, really a lot. And before I had this, I had also a large size one that's about, I would say, the same size as this, but it's not a deep one. It's more of maybe this kind of length and size, and it was really, really great. But when I love sauce, and so does my husband, so anything that I make, especially for spaghetti, I like to use and make extra sauce. So when I would mix my sauces, I would feel like it's about to splash everywhere, and it just makes a mess, and stirring things like that was very hard to stir. So when I got this, it was just a big lifesaver, because you're able to stir without any trouble. And especially for steamed vegetables, if you like making steamed vegetables and you make a good amount, say for just for the week, and you set it aside and everything. So that this is really helpful for that, because you're able to just stir them and flip them around in a lot easier way than say a thinner one. So this is definitely a keeper. I absolutely love this and recommend it. And the next one that we have would be cutting boards. Now this is definitely something that needs to be used around the kitchen. I do have 3 different types, only because I like to have 3 different types, because it makes it a lot easier, especially if you need something that is just to cut something quick. This is definitely one that I would suggest, just to cut something small like a cucumber or an apple. And then I have ones that are more bigger in size, which are also very useful if you're making something like chicken or potatoes, just because you don't make a mess in the kitchen, and also because it just helps so that you don't say cut your countertops all the time, and also just to keep it safe and clean and everything else. And the last but not least would have to be, for me, this is definitely a lifesaver, and I would have to say that this is something that you guys should get, is an electric teapot. I love this because it's definitely saves a lot of time. One of my least favorite things to do in the kitchen is to wait for water to boil. Whatever it is that I'm making, whether it's a quick bowl of oatmeal or spaghetti or mashed potatoes, I do not like to wait for water to boil, especially if it's a bigger amount, from 4 to 6 cups like soup. You just literally fill this in, and instead of waiting for 9 minutes for water to boil, you literally just wait for 1 to 2 minutes and your water is ready. So that's a trick of having an electric teapot. It's very useful to have in the kitchen, especially if you love tea and you're a tea drinker. Then you'll definitely love this. And even for those that are coffee lovers as myself, if you make instant coffee, these definitely help with that as well. So these are very useful in the kitchen. So that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think and what are your favorite kitchen essentials in your kitchen at home. And for the last part, as always, for our daily devotionals, actually I believe this deserves a drum roll, so maybe I can use these. So for the daily devotional, we do have this really spoke to me, and I would like to share it with you guys. And this was actually a cry from Daniel for his people. And here it says, it's Daniel chapter 9 verse 18, and here it says, "Oh my God, incline your ear and hear, open your eyes and see our desolations and the city that is called by your name. For we do not present our pleas before you because of our righteousness, but because of your great mercy." I do love this Bible verse, and it really spoke to me, because during hard times when we need God, especially when we don't see answers, or when we're confused and we feel broken and there's a lot of fear going on, Daniel here cries for people, for his people. And I love that it says here, not because of our righteousness, but because of God's great mercy. And that's very true, because we all are in need of God's mercy. And God is He's a God that is merciful, and He cares for you. And it says in the Bible, cast all your anxiety on Him, for He cares for you, which is very true. God does care for us. And if you're in that place where you need that moment with God, God definitely wants to hear your cry, and He does care for your cry. And I would actually like to add from Psalm chapter 56 verse 8, "You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle, are they not in your book?" This is a very, very powerful verse. It's also a cry of David to God, where he says that, haven't you, God, heard my cry? Haven't you been watching me? Don't you know what I'm feeling or am I going through? This definitely shows of how much God cares for us and how much he wants to hear us and how much he wants us to come to him in time of need or in time of frustration, anxiety. So definitely I do want to say that God, he is there, and even when it feels like he's not working in your life or in the life of your loved ones, he definitely is. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys liked this video and that it was useful to you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I do also have an email which will be in the description area down below. So I hope that you guys like this, and bye bye.